friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. It's going to be a fun video, I think. I'm taking inspiration from Samantha Ravendall because she did a video reacting to her followers' assumptions of her, and I kind of wanted to do that too because it sounded like fun. It sucks because I'd kind of already posted on my Instagram stories a couple weeks ago to assume things about me so I could just share it and respond to it right then. So I don't feel like I got as many this time the second time I asked because so many people already gave me assumptions, but I still feel like I got a fair amount of good ones. So we're going to go through those. I asked on my Instagram stories and here on the community tab. So let's go ahead and just do the community tab first because I didn't get that many on the community tab versus my Instagram stories where I got a lot more. So let's just dive into it. You never leave the house without makeup. Not true. I know it would seem that way, especially because my job, I'm a hairstylist. I try to look nice and super put together for that, and I'm constantly posting myself just with makeup, but I leave the house plenty without makeup actually. On a day that I don't have anything to do, I'm probably not wearing it unless I have to film. But I even went to work a day last week where I didn't feel like wearing it at all, so I went totally barefaced and it felt so good. So where I do wear it most of the time, I don't wear it all the time. And I'm not afraid to leave the house without makeup. If I was to like go somewhere in a social setting, I'd probably feel a little uncomfortable not wearing it just because I feel like people expect me to look a certain way, which kind of sucks, but that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I don't have a problem leaving without makeup. Even though you'll be married, you will be a crazy cat lady when you're old. I feel like I'm already a crazy cat lady. We have 4 cats. I would love to have more, but we just don't have the space for it. I feel like we're at max capacity right now. But I would eventually like to have lots of animals. I tell Zane all the time that this sounds very morbid, but when all of our cats die, I want to just go and adopt really old animals that only have a couple years left to live. So I think we're gonna be very crazy cat old people. I like dogs too, but we're definitely cat people. So I'm sure we will have lots of cats when we're old. Aw, I didn't see this one before. I think you're one of those people that don't know how pretty they are. Okay. First of all, thank you. Second of all, I don't know how to respond to that. I guess I will just respond simply by putting I do have major self-image issues and self-esteem issues and things like that. I constantly doubt myself. However, I can recognize when I have a good day like today. I feel like this makeup look makes me feel really cute. But as a general rule, I don't feel great about myself. So it's hard for me to respond to that because I'm just gonna say thank you, I appreciate it, and just leave it at that. You started cosmetology school when you were in high school and got your license when you were 18. I did not start cosmetology school when I was in high school. I started right after high school in my state, in my area where I'm living. It wasn't possible to start a cosmetology program until you were graduated from high school. You have to have a high school diploma or something like that, something of that nature. So I started the summer after I graduated. So I basically just took a summer vacation, started that August. And if they mean cosmetology license, I did not get it when I was 18. I started cosmetology school when I was 18, but I didn't get my license until I think it was like 18 months afterwards. I graduated a little early from the part-time program, which is normally 20 months. And at that point I was already almost 20. But if you mean driver's license, I think I didn't get my driver's license till I was like 19 actually. 18 or 19, something like that. I was definitely old enough to have a driver's license. I was just really scared to drive as a teenager and my parents were not the best driving teachers. Also, cats are your babies and you don't want kids. You would be correct. My cats are my children. I love them with my whole heart and I do not want children. Everyone says I'll change my mind, yada yada yada, and I hate hearing that, but I am confident that I will never birth a baby. That is not something I personally want to go through, and Zane is okay with that. He's more than okay with that. He completely understands. As of right now, we don't want children at all, but if we do decide to have kids, we want to adopt, and not for many, many years. But as of right now, in this moment, we don't want kids at all, and I am not birthing a baby. I'll tell you that right now. You prefer a night in than to go out and party? 100% yes. I exhaust all of my social energy at work talking to my clients and stuff like that. So when I have free time, I do not want to go out and socialize with people. If it's with one of my friends, like a close friend, I don't mind doing something, but even with that, I would prefer us to just stay in and do something more low-key. Once in a while, I do get the FOMO bug, and my friends are going out and I just need to join them, but I love staying in. I do not like going out unless I absolutely have to. You listen to alternative music, and they also want to know what I do listen to. I do listen to alternative music. I still listen to a lot of the music I listened to in high school and my early adult years. I like a lot of stuff, pretty much everything except country. I can't do country at all. It's disgusting to me. I like alternative music. I like heavier music. I like things like Halsey and Billie Eilish, 1975. I like pop punk stuff. I like a lot of different things. As of right now, what I've been listening to the most is I See Stars, just because we just saw their acoustic show a couple weeks ago, so I've just been keeping that image in my head, so I keep listening to them. But that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else to say. You're going to have 1 million subscribers one day. Thank you. And highly doubtful. You are not much of a party person and never got into drinking, smoking, or etc. even when I was younger. You are absolutely correct. I did not have my first drink of alcohol until I was 18. I didn't drink at all in high school. I've never smoked a cigarette, and even now, like, I went through a short spurt of time from like 18 to 19 where I went to house parties with my friends, but even then I don't feel like it was anything extreme. Like, it was for every maybe 5 parties there were, we went to one. It wasn't anything crazy. And even now, I do not drink often. If I do drink, it's more like one drink, and it's very rare. It's like maybe once every month and a half to 2 months. It's not often. I'm just not that kind of person. And Zane doesn't drink at all. He doesn't smoke at all. He's never really drank at all. So we just don't really have a reason to. Also, you never got in trouble with the law or family. Yeah, actually, I was a really good kid growing up. I was a good young adult. I'd never really gotten any kind of trouble. I never even got sent to like the principal's office in school. I was a really good kid, actually. And the last one on the community tab is, you were a cheerleader in high school. Technically, yes, I was for 1 year. I think it was my sophomore year of high school, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, but I ended up not doing it again. One, because I was really late to the game, so I wasn't very good at the jumps and things like that. And also, I just felt very, how do I put it? I felt very insignificant compared to the other girls because we did not grow up with money at all. It was like I was a poor kid, basically. And all the other girls had money, and like, for instance, when we would go out to have dinner before or after a game and I would bring my packed lunch with me, I was getting sick of people questioning that, you know? And I was very shy back then. So, I don't know, it just felt really awkward. I just felt very lesser than, so I didn't end up continuing with it. Even though it was a lot of fun, it wasn't for me. All right, let's pop on over to Instagram stories. You were popular in high school. That's so funny that you would even think that. Not at all. I wouldn't really say I was bullied, but I definitely wasn't noticed. I didn't have very many friends. I was kind of okay with that. I definitely was not popular though. I don't think most people knew who I was. You love cats more than humans. I love my cats so much. They are my everything. I would probably pick them over most people. You like Disney movies. I love Disney movies. We're going to Disney on Sunday. We have passes. And my first tattoo is the cave drawing of Simba on the back of my shoulder. A few of my favorite movies ever are Disney movies. I love Disney. I assume you've played through all of Yoshi's Island. I have. I haven't played through it in a long time. That actually would be really fun to play again. But yeah, my dad and brother and I, we used to play that all the time growing up, and I've definitely played through it multiple times. It was one of my favorite games. You are gorgeous. You are sweet. Thank you. You're pretty laid back. I feel like it depends on the day, because sometimes I can be really chill and laid back, but I feel like more times than not, I'm pretty high strung. My anxiety's pretty high up. I just have a lot going through my mind, and I'm stressing, you know? I feel like stressy is my mood most of the days. You're not into gossip and run away from drama. Yeah, I'm not a huge gossiper. I'm not the person that will be out in public and I'm just like, oh my gosh, look at that person. That's just not me. And even when people around me start to do that, I almost feel a little uncomfortable just because I don't think that way. Not trying to say I'm holier than thou, but I I don't know, I'm a really not judgmental person, I feel like, and I don't know, I just try not to get involved with gossip and stuff like that. Not to say that sometimes I don't need to vent about some things in my life with my friends, but as a general rule, I don't really like to gossip. You want more tattoos and piercings. I'm not so sure about piercings. I think I'm pretty content. I've been playing around with the idea of getting my Medusa pierced, but I also don't want to deal with that because I have to wax my lip because I get hairs and I don't want to have to try to deal with waxing around it. I do want more tattoos though. I want this whole arm sleeved up. I want both of my thighs. I have one part of my thigh already tattooed. I want my knees, my shins, my calves. I even have played around with the idea of getting my undercut tattooed because I think it's cool. My head's already shaved anyways. I do want lots more tattoos. But I think Zane's probably the next one to get a tattoo out of the two of us. You are not gonna wear heels on your wedding day. Absolutely not. I do not wear heels very often. I don't even really own a pair of heels. If I ever want to, I borrow this one pair from my friend Nicole, and they're more like heeled boots. They're not even actual like heels in the traditional sense. But Zane and I are the same height. I don't want to be taller than him. Not that that matters, but I just don't. I'd prefer us just to be the same height. So I'm most likely just gonna wear a pair of like cute glittery Vans or something like that. You were a scene kid or at least like their style. I loved their style. My friend from early high school, my best friend from early high school, we used to sit and look at pictures of scene girls on the internet, just random scene girls in like 8th grade and 9th grade. And we would fantasize about looking like that. We thought that was the prettiest way you could possibly look in life, so we adored it. Looking back, I was definitely more of that scene-ish style, but I was not full-blown scary scene or anything like that. I'm sure I can pop some pictures up here on the screen. Not too scary, but I was definitely more so that person than any other kind of style. You've never had a preppy phase. Not true, actually. So 6th grade's always awkward. I wore Happy Bunny t-shirts and jelly bracelets all the way up to my elbows, and then just kind of realizing I lived in a really small town, and I just realized how much I stuck out like a sore thumb and didn't like it at that moment. So I wanted to dress more like the other kids. And again, we didn't have money, so it was hard to do this. Around 7th, 8th grade, that kind of zone, I wanted to wear like Hollister, Aeropostale, American Eagle, things like that. But again, we didn't have money, so I think I had maybe 1 or 2 shirts from each of those, so like maybe 5 or 6 shirts total, and I wore them pretty much every day. I would wear them for the week, wash them, and wear them again the next week. I wanted a pair of boots because it was a farm town, and that was like the preppy thing to do, was have like boots. So I kind of did for a very short period of time, but then once I got to high school, I kind of realized that was not me. I assume you like theme parties. I love a good theme party. If you're gonna have a party, it should have a theme because it's just fun, it's cute, and I'm about it. Our wedding is gonna be a theme wedding, actually. I'm not gonna say any more of that because I don't want to talk about it too early, but I like a good theme party. When I first met you, I assumed you were shy. I definitely was. I was so much more shy than I am now. Now I'm pretty decent at talking to people, I feel like. I definitely have moments where I'm not totally 100% social. Like when I've worked all day and then I have to go and talk to people. It's not always my best social moment, but I definitely was very shy. And in this sense, this is my friend Christy, and we met in Cosmetology School. I didn't talk to anybody. I was terrified of talking to a single person. It was very cliquey at that school, and I just felt like very, again, kind of lesser than, mediocre, so I just didn't talk to anybody. I kept to myself. You did poorly in school. I actually did really well in school. I was at the top of my class. Again, it is a small town, so it's not like I was in the top of my class out of 1,000 people. I was in the top of my class out of like 200 people. But I still did really well. I graduated with like a 3.9 GPA. I did really well. I was a really good student. I didn't end up going to actual college, so those great grades were kind of not that important because I just went to cosmetology school instead, where it doesn't matter as much. But I did great in school, and even in cosmetology school, I always passed my tests. I think I had pretty much 100% as the average. People think you are rude when they first meet you. I hope not. I've never been told that, although I don't know if anyone would ever straight up say you're rude. I don't think people get that vibe. If anything, I feel like people assume that I'm nice, but I don't know. You know who you are that asks this. I'm not gonna call you out, but you know who you are. And maybe you think I'm rude, I don't know. I don't think people get that impression from me though. I try to be really nice. You don't like slackers. I do not like slackers. I always try really hard to be punctual, to be on my shit, and when people just kind of drop the ball or just don't even try for that matter, it drives me nuts because I just don't get it. I am constantly working. I work full-time at my job. I do this full-time, and I don't really have a whole lot of free time for anything else, but I still manage to get the stuff I need to get done. So when people can't manage to get anything done, it really bothers me. You've been playing New Kingdom Hearts 3 nonstop. We have been trying to. We haven't been able to play it as consistently as we'd like because Zane and I are playing it together. Like, we're only playing it when we're both able to play it together, and our schedules are sometimes backwards, and then sometimes when I get off work really late, all I want to do is just eat something and go to bed, so we don't play it that night. But we are getting through it. I think we're about halfway through now. I wish we were farther into the game than we are, but you know, it is what it is. We played it last night and we'll play it again tonight, but that's about it. I assume you grew up wealthy. That is the funniest thing I've read so far. We were so not wealthy. I think my parents might have been a little, I don't think they were even considered middle class maybe back then, but they were definitely better off when it was just me, just one kid to take care of. But I have 4 younger siblings. As my parents continued to have children, we just got broker and broker and broker and broker. I did not grow up wealthy at all. The most money I've ever had in my life is right now when Zane and I are working together really hard to get where we are and get what we have, but I did not grow up wealthy at all. I assume Zane makes good money to help fund your makeup shopping. I don't love that question just because Zane and I share everything. So our bank account is the same, both of our money goes the same. He does technically make a little more money than I do because my money is a lot more unpredictable. It's hard for me to say for sure like how much money I make because my money is reliant on my clients, you know what I mean? So he definitely does make a little more money than me, but it's not so much more that he's supporting me. I feel like we support each other. It all goes into one big pot and we just deal with our bills and then we deal with what things I want, what he wants, what we want together, things like that. So we're just kind of funding each other. It's not so much like he's supporting me or anything like that. I assume you're really laid back and chill, but can't stand when your house is a mess and can't rest until it's tidied up. That's pretty true. Again, the kind of laid back and chill thing depends on the day because some days I'm more high strung, some days I'm more laid back. But when my house is a mess, I can't function. I hate it. I like my house to be clean, especially if I know someone's coming over. I can't do it. The house has to be clean. It has to look like people don't live here. And I can't handle when the house is a mess. You can ask Zane. There has been many an evening when we're just sitting down peacefully and then I just jump up and I start going all around the house like a tornado because in my mind it's a complete disaster when really it's probably not that bad, but I need my house to be clean. I assume that loyalty is important in your friendships. Definitely. I feel like anyone would be crazy to disagree with that. I don't have a ton of friends, but I do have some close friends, and I feel like the thing that I require with my friendships more than anything is just the fact that we need to understand that, especially being adults and busy adults, that we can't always talk to each other or see each other 24/7. So I need those friends that we can have separation and then come back together as if there was no time in between. I don't want to say I need low maintenance friends, but I need friends that don't require constant stimulation. And I feel like the loyalty goes in with that in the sense that I know that they'll still be there for me even if we don't talk for like a week, you know what I mean? Not trying to say I ignore my friends, but we all get busy, you know? I assume you're extremely goal-oriented and won't rest until you've completed a task. That is also very true. When I set my mind to something, I strive to achieve it with pretty much every fiber of my being. I don't like to give up, basically is what I'm trying to say. I like to achieve my goals and I'm not just gonna give them up. I assume you've had some of the same friends since you were younger. Depends on how you define that. I grew up in Georgia as a kid. We moved up to Florida when I was about 10. So any of the friends I had back then, I'm not friends with anymore. I don't talk to anybody. My earliest friend, Lindsay, back in 5th grade, we're still friends. We're not as close as we were, but she's one of those friends that we don't see each other, but probably more than 2 or 3 times a year, even though she lives right down the street from me. But when we get together, it's as if there was no time lost. We just pick back up right where we left off. We laugh, we have a great time. So I love her with my whole heart. She is definitely my earliest friend. But before that, the friends that I'm with now, I met anywhere between 5 to 10 years ago, so I haven't had friends for really that long of a span of time, but the friends that I do have, I've had long enough that it feels like a lifetime, you know? And last one, I assume that I'm your favorite follower. You know who you are. And you're definitely one of my favorite followers. Yes. That's it. We're 24 minutes into filming. I got through a lot of them. A lot of them were repeats, so I didn't go over every individual one. If I were to repeat the questions that were asked, I would probably be here another 15 minutes. But thank you guys for your assumptions. I appreciate them. That was fun to kind of see what you guys think of me without really knowing me. So that was cool. I hope this helps you get to know me a little bit better. I would like to know more about you, so just anything you want to tell me, let me know down below. I'd love to chat with you. If you enjoyed this reacting to your assumptions about me video, please give it a thumbs up. I enjoyed this. This was fun. Maybe we can do something similar-ish in the future. I guess a Q&A is probably the most similar thing we could do, so maybe in a few months we'll do a Q&A. We'll see. If you're not already, please hop over to my Instagram. It's beautbean. Follow me there. I post every single day. And don't forget to subscribe here before you leave. I post every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Let me know what videos you want to see on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.